Yo lads, we're back. We're back. It's day 2. Fighter Spirit Media streaming workshop episode 2. No, thanks for coming the other day. So we're gonna go back and do some of. I can hear myself in the background for testing purposes. We're gonna go back and do some more Ghost of Tsushima because obviously yesterday I didn't get past what I wanted to get past, and we still have to do that because it's what we're testing. But we're basically we run into an issue. So you'll see that the name of today's video says Vmix Chat testing. The computer that we were using to do the Vmix machine I was using, which was a boot camped MacBook Pro, has just stopped working. It's not turning on. So that's not happening, unfortunately. I'm going to work out what actually is wrong with that, and then hopefully get that working, and then we'll have Vmix as well. But basically what we're doing now, we're working off the A10 Mini Pro ISO. We're running the PlayStation 4 into the decimator and then basically using it as an input. So we're getting an output of the HDMI and an input. We're getting a Stream Deck, which we haven't programmed yet. He's going to program it for Vmix, but I can use it with my computer, so other interesting ways we'll get to, maybe not today. And we've got the Rode Caster Pro, which is a 4 XLR podcast desk. It's not too integrated, which is why I can't do certain things. So like one thing I could have done maybe, and one thing it could be that we do in the future is when we get the HDMI output from the PlayStation 4 into the decimator, we have an SDI output and we change that SDI signal to Ethernet, and then basically plug that back into our system. So we've converted that so we could use a program like Dante, or we could just change it from SDI to analog, which will allow us to have an left and right, which I don't think would be the worst thing in the world. It would be a way to be able to have more control over the PlayStation input, because right now my headphones are plugged into the pad and I can hear Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm actually playing a loop tune background, which is what you can hear, which is under my voice. So I'm actually going to bring that down just a tiny bit. I think my microphone is fine and you can hear me anyway. I don't think there is anybody in the chat because nobody knows I'm doing this, but if you are in the chat, just let me know how it sounds, and then yeah, we'll go from there. I'm going to basically put on the title screen of Ghost of Tsushima, put myself in the pip, and then I'm going to send the link out to some people so that maybe we can start off with just some gaming, get into it, and then go back and then talk about what this workflow is, basics of streaming and questions to ask, and then just formulate something from there. Just gonna turn off my microphone for a sec. Let's get into it. Let's go. I made the pit box a tiny bit bigger because somebody asked me to, but because of the game, we may need to make it smaller. We shall see. It is on the upstream key, which we'll explain later. But we'll see how this battle goes. I'm going to introduce that music. Turn off the other one. Let's get into the game. Come on, let's go. Started off poorly immediately. All right. All right. What we will do, we will make me a bit smaller. There's ways to do this. There's ways to do this. Shouldn't have been able to kick me there though, mate. So I'm looking for, but it's not enough. They've got more life in hard mode, I'll say that. This is the beginning of the game. Bear this in mind, people. Yeah, I haven't got anywhere yet, and I'm not even succeeding. And I said this game was easy. Foddered. I'm nobody. See, one thing that I wanted to look out for in this is basically, and how good does the A10 Mini Pro ISO stream? I'm sending out 720p right now. Doesn't look too bad on my computer, but it's not great either. We'll see what adjustments we can make to try and improve that. But we've started in a good place. But yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. That's one thing I wanted to test because Vmix was doing good yesterday. But we want to see what things we can do to make this stream better. With the A10 and with other resources, because we could do this in slightly different ways, but we'll get into that a bit later. I actually need to focus on this, but I don't know if I can talk at the same time. Crazy. I need to stay close to him, but enough that I can move out the way. Because I don't have any additional help. I've got all the skills. See what I'm saying? Easy. I'm not doing myself any favors. Throws in that quick one sometimes, man. It's hard to see when it's coming. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for right there. Finished. Am I gonna have to humble myself and abandon the duel? Let's try one more time. Yes, bro. I'm getting foddered up, mate. I'm telling you. It's crazy. See what I'm saying? Easy. I'm dead already, bro. Telling you, I can't make no wrong moves, bro. I've got zero. I don't want to abandon this duel, man, but I have to progress. Man, like, bruh. I'm getting mash up still. See, I missed a perfect opportunity to land blows. Let's go. He's gonna catch me with that quick strike, and I'm just gonna be finished. Let's go. Oh my days. He caught me. That's the strat though. That is the strat, me. All right, one more time. Then we'll talk some streaming stuff. We have to focus on the strat and just keep it going. It's working. Just don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. It's the name of the game. We nearly got greedy. Let's go. We're doing well right now, you know. We're staying disciplined. We're sticking to the strat. Oh, he's changed it up now. We nearly made it home. Oh. Oh my days. A lapse. A lapse. No more lapses. He's a bit more ferocious with the pattern now still. And I can't even heal. It's alright though, we got him. This is the last one. Lads. We did it. We did it, mate. We flipping did it. Deep breath. Thank you. This is where we can talk about some streaming. I don't have a plan for this really. And I'm going to switch over to Modo's music right now. And then we can just talk over some basics. I'll just tell you about who I am, what I've learned, where I grew from, and then we go from there. Any questions, bang them in the chat. This is a streaming workshop. There's no lesson plan. Just going to talk streaming. We're going to see how we can make this stream better. And we're going to plan if, let's say, we got events or anything. I don't know, man. I know a lot of people who do events. So, yeah, let me transition to camera one. Boom. Now it's just me. What I might do is stay here. And the music should still be looping in the back, but you can still hear my voice better. Turn up a tiny bit. Yeah, so I'm a broadcast technician. I've been working for about 8 years. Started as a camera operator at a company called Boiler Room, which I'm sure some people have heard of. And now I'm a freelance streaming technician, consultant, and Vmix operator, Black Magic, operator, and just all around guy. It's a bit hard to describe. I don't know. This is just something I'm trying to work out at the moment. I enjoy live streaming. I enjoy live streaming because it just gives people the opportunity to share their unique stuff. And live streaming is now more accessible than ever, and that's why I kind of want to just talk about some things and just share my point of view and my knowledge. If there is anybody watching, just let me know you can hear me alright. I know you can definitely see my big bald head, but just let me know you can hear me. Yeah, got my comic of the week background. I'll definitely jump on Discord and all that. Junkyard Joe, I haven't read it yet. Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, and Brad Anderson. The reason why I got it is because it's also part of another series that I'm reading called Redcoats. And Redcoats is about a guy who meets up with Albert Einstein, and they're trying to save America from burning down. which is quite interesting. This is in the same timeline as it, and I do have Redcoat's comic behind it, which I can show you. Just breaking the PlayStation pad. Here's the Redcoat. Issue number 5. Loads of cool stuff to do with like George Washington and Revere and that. Johnny Appleseed. But yeah, that's why I have it. That's the book of the week. That's what's going on in the background. I'm not really much of a streamer myself. I sort of also have helped people stream things that they want to see. I've done from basic like music festivals to live music performances, conferences. The main good part about being a streaming technician is that you have to have quite a broad set or understanding of technologies and desires to sort of client desires to be able to make things happen, but with most tools you can make most things happen. And knowing and being creative with what you've learned over the years is definitely makes a streaming technician successful, which is why I enjoy it. So the reason why we're doing this testing is because we want to see how does YouTube respond with the Blackmagic Mini Pro ISO. Currently what we're streaming at is basically in our output. Yeah, I can't show you this. I will plumb in another screen another time. Having the Vmix machine break today threw me off a tiny bit. I just wanted to make sure I jumped online anyway. We're streaming at what would be called Hyperdeck high quality. It's still only sending out 4.6 megabytes per second, which on the YouTube backend is saying isn't that great. But since the beginning of the stream, it's looking like it's saying excellent collection. We haven't really had any dips, and the stream has been good most of the time. We do have some sort of where it says the stream's current bitrate of 3249 kilobits per second is lower than the recommended bitrate, but it hasn't actually affected the stream. I think it just wants us to be more stable and work out how to make that happen. I think the best place we could maybe start to talk about live streaming is the workflow that we're using today, which is for gaming. This is just if, let's say for example, you wanted to get into live streaming yourself, or there was an event on and you're an event producer and you have a gaming tournament that you want to live stream. This is how you might do it. It will be a more blown up version of what we're doing today, but the workflow we're using today is also valid. So let's say for the personal streamer, most people have a webcam. This is a setup that's actually running with a Canon X825, which is going into my mixer. You could use, if it was on a really basic budget, you could go streaming on live on YouTube with just your webcam. Obviously you wouldn't have gaming console on there as well, but maybe it would work with the reason why we're using something like an A10 is just so that we can put up picture in picture, we can add a camera, we can add different screens. So I've obviously got a third camera mount which I'll just flash up here, which I can grab up stuff like that's where we're playing the music from. Play other video clips on there. If you had a client, you could use that as the presentation, and that's what stuff like the A10 Mini Pro ISO allows you to do. It is just a sort of prosumer vision mixer, so it is something that is really accessible. You just have to understand the basics of signal transmission from something like a HDMI wire, which is something you know already because you're using a PlayStation 4, for example, or you've plugged in most people know what HDMI is. You can go over that at some point. I think when I get a bit of a better understanding like what I'm aiming to get out of here, and if I actually do formulate a lesson plan, we can go through some sort of better explanations from more talented people than me, and maybe we can even get some people on to give us an explanation But the HDMI wire is basically the wire that connects your PlayStation to your mixer, and basically PlayStation to your TV monitor. So that's the one that you plug it in. Either go HDMI one. They usually all look the same. There are sort of slightly different variations, which we won't go into right now. But again, we're using the A10 Mini as our mixer, and that allows us to switch between cameras. And we're using the Rodecaster Pro as our audio. Oh, I'm so parched. I've been talking so much. Because we want to keep things really simple, I'm gonna get a picture up of what the A10 Mini Pro ISO is on the second computer. And if we've got some images that go with it, it'll probably be a bit of a better way to explain what we're looking at. So I'm just going to swap over to the other screen right now. So this is the A10 Mini Pro ISO. So far zoomed in, can't really even see. But this is what it looks like. And so basically we have our 4 inputs. We have our cut, sort of fade to black. So when you press auto, what it allows you to do is to smoothly transition as opposed to harshly cutting. So it will be that kind of effect as opposed to a harsh cut which you might choose. It just depends on what you're going for and what your client is asking for. Basically that's what those buttons do. Look on here, basically all of these buttons here correspond to whether the audio channel is going to be on or off. So because let's say for example today there's points of the stream where we're going to be listening to Ghost of Tsushima and it's on number 2, there's ways we can do it. I could click on this AFV, which means audio follows video. So when I press that button, it transitions slowly. It transitions the audio along with the transition of that button. So if I put audio follow video on and I press number 2, it's in the preview. As soon as I press cut to put it in auto, the audio is going to turn on just like that. But if I wanted to just leave it on, I could just press on and then I can ride the audio channels in the software control mixer. These buttons here correspond. We also have 2 inputs, which are 3.5mm jack inputs. So what you can do with that is you can either just have a sort of handheld microphone. You could have 3.5mm to XLR, so you could be taking from a big desk and you're basically getting your broadcast left and right audio that way. In the back, what I've done today is I've taken the master out of the left channel from the Rodecaster Pro, and when I've plumbed it into the mic input number 1, I've basically split the mono, so what you're hearing is from the left is coming through the right. That was the way, because I didn't want to have to plug in 2 cables, sort of just use both ports unnecessarily. So as you can see on the screen here, we've got the ability to picture-in-picture. In the older models like the A10 TVS, they didn't have the picture-in-picture, unfortunately, which is the model I had before, but now I've got this one. It makes it so much easier, so I'll turn that back on again. The way the A10 Mini Pro ISO works is whatever is plugged into number 1, so input number 1 is what will be the picture-in-picture when you turn it on and off with these buttons here. So since I'm in the way, let's move it a tiny bit. So, and on this side here, basically what you have is whether you're going to be recording, where you're going to, if you're going to be live streaming, to where you're actually going to your live stream destination. Let's say, for example, in the ATEM software control, you have if you're going to a single destination like we are today with YouTube, you have that plugged in. As soon as you press go on it, it's going to send to that destination, and then you can jump over to the cloud-based software or the desktop Chrome browser sort of extension that you're using for your YouTube or whatever, and you can jump in there, and then you can send the stream live or do any other testing that you need. So this is a very handy piece of software, especially if you're starting out. It's about 500 quid, and you can get so much variation out of it. I think we can base a lot of the future principles that we think about when it comes to live streaming on this basic model here, because there's a lot you can do with it, and I think that's one of the good things about how live streaming and equipment is changing at the moment, because things are becoming so much more accessible than they were before. The learning curve is quite high, and the problem with live streaming, or I wouldn't necessarily say it's a problem, but one of the things with live streaming is that it's very high pressure, and basically it's not that there's not room for mistakes, but there's a lot to understand, and when things go wrong in sort of high pressure environments, you have to know what to do. And this is something I'm still learning. I've been in I could have a whole podcast session, which wouldn't be as funny if it was just me battling off like with somebody else, with the amount of hard times that we've had on set, and difficulties that we've had to come up with. But that's why we're having this session now, just so that we can, I think I'm rushing. Obviously I don't really have a plan with this. But I think over time we work it out a bit better. I'll be able to slow down, be a bit more cogent with what I'm trying to express. Maybe a good place to start is with something that I've written on maybe a while ago. I'll maybe start that on the second stream. So we'll go back to talking about our workflow. I'm going to try and find a little document that I was making earlier, and then that should allow us to give a good explanation of what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to do. It's a basic mock-up. We'll probably do about another 18 minutes of this, play a tiny bit more of Ghost of Tsushima, and then come offline, see what it was like lasting for an hour. Some more creative things to do. I think I just wanted to make sure that I jumped around again. Didn't avoid doing it. But we'll build it up and we'll get stronger and we'll get better with it. But yeah, man, smashed up the samurai guy though. Yes, Sistren. We smashed up the samurai guy, so that's one thing. We got through that hurdle. But cool. I'm gonna transition over to my screen again. I'll put myself in pip and then try and give an explanation of what we're looking at. So we have our camera. This is the Canon XA25, and basically remember it isn't the end goal, but it's the main hub. This is where we're pretty much trying to control everything in the ATEM ISO Mini. There's other viewpoints on how you could control it or what you could base it on, but just for today's example, I'm trying to stay sort of really basic, which I guess is the level of my teaching ability right now. We're going to keep it super simple and say that the ATEM Mini is our basis. Everything goes in there and comes out from there. So the audio is going to be going in there, which we already explained, which is by I'm just going to title it as well. It's a 6.35 millimeter jack, 3.5 millimeter jack, too loud. Is that better? How does that sound? I hope that's much better. Thank you for shouting that out. That's much better now. Please let me know. Nice. See, we're still working things out, man. This is why we do these testing sessions, just to make sure we're sharp and we're working out what things to remember. And it's I appreciate the shout out there for letting me know that the audio wasn't correct. I thought that it was just going to be a bit more quiet in the background. But yeah, we've brought the audio down on that channel now. So that is this channel that's coming through on the computer, because we are using this computer to play out the audio. Well, certain audio, which we can label it up, but basically this is going to go back to our diagram. So we have our main camera going in here on input number 1. We have the PlayStation going in on input number 2. But right in the middle here, what we have is a MD cross. Sorry, I'm typing it on the wrong computer. Is the MD cross decimator. And what the decimator allows us to do is to input a HDMI signal and either take it back out as an SDI or take it back out as a HDMI. It just gives us a couple different routing options. It's useful. It's like I wouldn't say it's a big version of a capture card. I know somebody with a bit of a better technical background would describe it differently and probably in more depth. But it's basically like a scaler. So in some instances, you might have something which is like a bi-directional SDI to HDMI, which is just going to turn your SDI signal into HDMI and not do anything else. But the good thing about something like a decimator, it means that we can input one signal and re-output it at a different signal. We can rescale that output to be a different scaling output. So if we needed to do 1080p and we're doing 2160, it just depends, because that's gonna be something on like a higher model. We can do that. We can rescale things. We can, if we had something coming in at 1080 and we needed to send it, we need to rescale that output to 720 because our mixer can only input 720, because not all mixers can just accept anything. You have to feed it what it's expecting to have input into it. A lot of the bigger models, or I would say the more expensive models, may have something where it can automatically detect what you're trying to put it in and sort of scale it or change that input so it fits with what else is going on. But not every mixer has that opportunity. So like the old ATEM TVS, if it's not 1080/50 and you're trying to send it in there, it's just not going to show up. You can go into the settings and then change it so that your production, like the whole project, is now in 1080/30, which is going to be what the other camera is, so you can pick it up. but unless everything is set that way, not every system's going to pick it up. So that's why stuff like the MD Cross decimator is handy for. Because also getting stuff like, oh, it's telling me that the PlayStation is going to turn off. It's been that long since we played. Crazy. I've been rambling. That's what the decimator does. It allows you to scale that output. It allows you to basically get a clean HDMI signal there, and gives you options to strip it out. So let's say you wanted to control the audio, you could take an SDI signal, convert that to analog, and then you could plumb that into a desk, and then your audio technician can just ride that single input, and then they've got more control, which is what you want. The problem with certain types of setups, it just means you don't have certain levels of control, which is what you need to be sort of prepared for, which is why planning time and rehearsal time are super important. So you can set things so that they're right, you can document them so that they're right, and then you can turn up on the day when you need to shoot and perform how you're supposed to. There's been so many days where I haven't been able to perform because I haven't had the resources and I haven't had the time to plan. So those are the types of things that we want to avoid. So we have the audio desk going in here, like I said, on the ATEM, and I'll make sure that this is in, we have a version of the ATEM switcher plumbed in so that we can actually go through the back end there on our next stream. But basically we're running this in as a single audio channel so that on our ATEM software mixer we can control the mixing of the audio in that back end. You can't do it on the panel itself, which is a bit annoying, and eventually I'll have a second camera so I can show you the desk whilst I'm talking about this stuff. You don't have to just listen to it and listen to me and see the diagrams. We'll get more integrated, but this is where we are right now. We have our input computer, which we're using for the audio tracks, and you notice that these arrows are pointing into the ATEM and this arrow is pointing away from the ATEM. So this is where our streaming destination is going to be. Today we are actually streaming out of the ATEM by itself. So if I were to change this, I just need to get rid of something that I'm looking at on my screen. I have the audio bars for the program output, which is on the top right hand side of my monitor, just covering the side of my screen. So I'm just going to get rid of those real quick. Boom, gone, just so that I can see the side of my screen here. So if we add a text box, how do we add a text box? Not really used this program before. Found it yesterday. Anyway, if we were to put a text box in there around this one, basically we're sending out from the ATEM and we're going directly to YouTube because the ATEM Mini Pro ISO, it allows you to live stream. It's sending out 2.2 megabits per second right now, and it's probably sending out a tiny bit less because of what we have on the screen right now. But it's fluctuating. I'll try and get a diagram of that so maybe we can look at it next time and see what type of information that is in there, and then we can see what we can learn from it. But basically the way I had it set up before, because we were using the Vmix machine, is that the program output, which is being carried over USB-C, because that's the way the model does it, is then picked up as an input like a video capture device by the Vmix machine. There are other ways to do it. Let's say, for example, we're going to be using OBS. We would use this method for an OBS computer, which is an open broadcast software, which is basically a free to use piece of software that allows you to live stream. It's super powerful. A lot of these things are based on your computer and how much your computer can handle. My computers at the moment, unfortunately, cannot handle a lot, but my internet's good. So that's why the stream isn't too bad, because I've plumbed my Ethernet directly into my ATEM and it seems to be working well. The internet is distributed around all of my computers quite differently, which will be cool to work out how to balance that so I can focus my bandwidth in certain areas. But that will be maybe a future lesson down the line, and we'll both learn on that one. So yeah, this is the basic setup that we have. In the Rodecaster Pro audio desk, there's 4 channels. Obviously, it's just me, so we only need the one. But I can connect my phone in there. I can connect Bluetooth. I can connect to USB, and it also has 8 sort of like trackpad channels. So if I wanted to play a sound, I'm not going to play the one that I've got plumbed in because of TOS. But you can plumb in a lot of cool things. So that, let's say, for example, if somebody had sent me a voice note and I wanted to play it out because it was relevant to something we were doing on a stream or an explanation from somebody who had some wisdom for us, I could plumb it into that piece of equipment, hit the button, and it will automatically play it out. Those are the handy things that you can use on these tools to make your stream better and make the experience of the viewer better, which is what we want to do. So I'm not going to go too much deeper in it today. I'm going to keep it super shallow and basic like that, because I think with a plan it will be a bit better. It will be a bit easier for me to sort of make sense out of what I'm saying. We'll play the game for a tiny bit more. We'll come offline for the day, and then yeah, we'll come back again in a couple more days and see what more we can learn and sort of where these streams are going to take us. So let me put on Ghost of Tsushima. I'll put my pip back in. I'll turn on the audio for that. And I will turn off the audio for the computer. So let's see where we are. Let me just double check. Oh, we can hear it. Hold on a second, please, gang. Let's figure out what's wrong with audio on channel number 2. Let's give it one moment. This is the time you have to think. This is the time I'm happy that we have time to think. Just gonna take a look in the settings real quick. Just gonna try and figure out what is going on. This is when we go deep into the settings. Sound and screen. What is happening? Still nothing on camera 2, unfortunately. But that's good to know. I'm new to this streaming. So it's just another question of why isn't it sending the audio? And how do we make it send the audio? Because it should be pretty straightforward. But questions to ask, and I'll figure it out.